Yo, what a shaking, everybody. Welcome back to the Concert Buddy and the Spins Vinyl YouTube channels, where we're doing Surface Noise, the B-side today, which is why you're looking at my mug and not Chance's, but you will see Chance next Thursday for the A-side. You should still stick around, though, because we have an amazing panel here and some super cool topics. And for the freestyle, I wasn't kidding. That wasn't clickbait. You guys are going to get involved with the show. So we're going to play a little game at the end. I'm going to shoot a link your way. So I'm giving you fair warning now. Have a second screen, have another tab open, something like that, so you guys can vote right along with us in the freestyle. We got some fun stuff to cover there as well. So we're going to jump in. First, let me introduce the band, David Bianco. I forgot what instrument I signed to you, but what is up, my friend?
Not much. How you doing, guys?
Doing great, doing great. Good. Chris is here. Chris, as always, on drums, of course.
The revolution will not be televised.
On the congas tonight. We got a nice little chill group going today. Jason Rojas on the double stand-up acoustic bass. What's up, Jason Rojas?
Thanks for having me back on. The revolution will be televised if you have Paramount Plus.
And of course we do. It's 2025. I'm waiting for it to move to Disney Plus. All right, guys. I'm Jason from Spins Vinyl. I am the MC for the evening, and yeah, man, let's have some fun. Let's say hello to some people. Cesar, of course, right on time, baby. Cesar, my friend, welcome. Breakfast King of Loyola in the house. AZ Mick, Safe and Sound. We know who Safe and Sound is, but hello again, David. Wyoming Dave, what's up, Wyoming Dave? Howdy. He said howdy, I said hi. I'm going to channel the B-boys a lot tonight, maybe. David Nelms in the house, what's up? Novice Nick, shout out Novice Nick. Charlie Anderson. KRWD, what's up? High Rant, what's up? Elliot Cruz, what's up? Boom, great to see everyone. All right, this is going to be fun. If you just joined in, like I said, I'm going to throw up a link in the chat soon. And you're going to be able to click on that and use that link for the freestyle. I can't emphasize it enough. It's going to be super fun. You guys are going to be able to play along with us for the freestyle game. Just make sure you have another tab, something that makes it easy for you to kind of go back and forth between the show and the link. All right. Today's discussion, min-max your record collection. All right. What does that mean? The idea is just sort of like in this day and age where some of us are thinning our collections either by choice or not by choice, or rebuilding a collection. How do we minimize sort of the difficult things about how do we not spend so much money? How do we get the best pressings? All that kind of stuff. So basically, the simple way to define it is maximize your advantages, minimize your disadvantages. We got some smart collectors in the house today, so we will share our opinions about that. So let's jump right in. In fact, David Bianco, you're right on top. What are your thoughts on the, first of all, do you understand the question? Because I want to make sure I'm being clear about this.
Well, I'll give you my answer and then you can see whether I got it.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I'm in a rationalization stage, I guess, in my collection, I would call it. So I've come up with a couple terms, and that is core and noise. So the core things that I need to have in my collection, artists, pressings, titles, what are the core things? And then things that drop outside of that are noise. And determining how much I have that's core and how much I have that's noise. And what I'm finding, of course, is that I listen to a lot of the core than I do the noise. So a few things sweep into a group that's kind of between the core and the noise. And the rest is falling out as, I really don't need that. And that's really keeping me away from getting some other things I'd like to bring into the core. So taking those non-core things that are noise and getting them together to sell off to folks so that they can, have good pressings of and clean records in their collection that really aren't things that I'm enjoying anymore. So for me, that's kind of the way I'm going through what I'm doing right now. And I'm getting rid of a lot of Japanese pressings, for example. I'm finding that a majority of those have lost shootouts. I have the benefit of my shootouts now to say, I'm going to keep this one, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really just going through that process, and it's difficult because there are a few things I have that aren't core that have sentimentality, and that's a special little category, and I keep those to the side. You know, I've got a few records that are signed. I've got a few, things that were from high school that I remember, so there's that little side category off to the side that I kind of guilty pleasure or, things that really matter to me. So that's kind of the way I've been kind of looking at it. Did I understand the question?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Shout out Vinyl Dreamscape. Shout out David Nelms. Elliot Cruz. I need to call out about 70% of the rock records I never listened to. This is a common theme, right? That's why we're talking about this, because I'm sure we all have stuff that we probably wouldn't miss as much as we think we would if we actually let some of the stuff go. Breakfast King, sorry, Chris, but he says the Steely Dan's got to go. So Breakfast King, we have a buyer for you if you do let that stuff go. I don't know. I'm not getting a reaction out of Chris. Okay, never mind.
Everything must go. That's the name of the album.
Ooh, that's a nice title. Let's make an album.
Charlie Anderson, no more than 10 copies. Hey, I think there's a lot of people in the VC that would stand by that. You know what? I need my 10 copies. Or every different pressing of this record, but that's it. I'm not going past that. Well, so one thing I thought would be fun to look at this. We're gonna Jay, you're next, but here's one of the ways to kind of look at this is what would your strategy be if you literally had to just cut your collection in half? You downsize the house, the significant others barking at you, sell that stuff, whatever it is. Jay, you got to get rid of half the records, man. What's your strategy? And be specific. Like, what kind of stuff are you going to unload? What do you have to keep in the collection?
My friend and I, we used to joke about this. A friend of mine used to work at a record store in Columbus, Ohio called Used Kids Records. And we joke about back to zero. Back to zero is selling everything and you start all over again, which that's pretty, that's a tough concept actually,
Yeah.
But the way I think about it is, am I listening to the record? Am I enjoying it? Will I go back to it? I have a good example. Like this is Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and the Englishman, right? This is practically an amazing live record, right? In the early 70s with Leon Russell, and of course, Joe Cocker over here, right?
Hey.
Right. And I believe this record also has, I think it's Superstar, right? That song.
That the Carpenters did, right?
Coolidge, right.
Rita Coolidge is in that band too, yeah.
Yep. And she sings probably an amazing version, right, of that song. But will I come back to this? That's the thing, right? But will I come back to Cheap Trick live in Budokan, right? So this is a tough thing, right? Which one would I choose to let go if I had to, right? So for me, I'd let go of Joe Cocker and I'd keep this for a little bit longer. See that? Because this record is, they were not famous necessarily, right? Cheap Trick, they were sort of on their way to become famous, but they still had an excellent live show, and that's what this Budokan show is all based on, right?
Mm. So sum up the rationale again so you're saying because you're going to keep the Cheap Trick because
it's a rockin' album for sure.
You're going to listen to it more, you're saying?
Oh yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And no offense to this record, this Joe Cocker record, it's great.
Yeah.
Joe Cocker's version of Delta Lady, wow. That's an amazing version, I don't think it can be topped. Maybe Bobby Gentry's version, tops that, but I don't know, But so to me, it just depends, what I like, right? And you're not going to be able to keep this all this stuff forever, You've enjoyed it and it's time to pass it on, right?
Yeah, it's gonna go at some point, like it or not, right?
Yes.
Don't say pass it on in front of an old person, okay?
Chris, you got to cut the collection in half, dude. Half of those shelves behind your head right now got to go. How do you deal with that? What's your strategy?
I don't know.
All right.
Let me
Funko.
think.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no. If I had to cut this current collection in half, I'd probably get rid of a lot of box sets, even though I'm a box set nut. Only because I would probably get the most value out of resale out of them. And some of the stuff, I don't love the complete box, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep it for some of it. If I had to cut it in half, I would dedupe, which I've been doing, like, and I've been selling like VGs that I have from like my early days, like stuff that I really don't need. It's really tough. I'd probably actually cut out a lot of my hip hop too. I think that's more of a nice thing to have on the shelf, but I don't really need all of it on vinyl. I would probably cut out a good 5 or 10%. So that'd be my strategy. Like, really take a hard look at the bigger collections taking up a lot of space that probably have more resale value, and say, all right, do I really want this? Do I really need it?
So start with some of the big guns then, and kind of work your way down.
Yeah, probably. I've also gone on like the Discogs and just sorted by median value, like high to low once in a while, and just see if anything stands out. I'm like, oh, that's going for a decent amount. Like, and I don't really need that. I made some decisions that way as well.
Yeah, Tubelandia agrees with you.
The only box sets that would be off limits would be the Dylan bootleg series. Those wouldn't even be a consideration. That's staying, but
So you're
everything
keeping
else,
all the Dylan. And that's kind of how it needs to start, right? It's like trying to sort a deck of cards or something. Like, you got to have kind of two piles: the absolutely must stay and the no-brainer, we can unload these kind of things. And then you got to make some tough decisions when you're like halfway through that process, right? Where you're like,
yeah, it would be tough. It would be really tough.
So you would give up your Steely Dan UHQRs before you would give up your Bob Dylan bootleg series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Only because I have white label promos in most of their catalog.
Okay.
what about the hip hop stuff?
Yeah, I would keep Tribe, Tupac, and Nas, and everything else would go.
So Lauren would go, right? She would.
I don't know. I think it's an R&B record.
Okay.
I'm splitting hairs. It would be easier for me to sell my entire collection than sell half of it. How about that? I'd rather liquidate than make the decision, I think.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that? You just don't want to be faced with the choice? You can't choose one of your children. You just got to let them both go.
I kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, I've worked really hard to curate everything I want, and it's like sometimes making those choices is going to get tough. Like the top 10% and the bottom 10%, that's easy. It's everything in the middle there that's going to be a coin flip, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think too. So I just had a great idea. Jay, I'm going to blow you up, and you're going to select what is staying and what is going from that wall behind you. Cut it in half. Oof. Keep 9, get rid of 9.
This could go because it really sounds like ass. No offense. Like, it's the BBC sessions, but I don't know if they got the tapes. So
yeah.
And they don't even tell you like what the source is. I guess they just tell you it's BBC sessions, and it's actually all in mono. Like, you know, that's not in Discogs. They wouldn't tell you. So this would see you later. You know.
It's from the original DVR sources.
So, cut from the original CD.
Possibly, you know.
Original cassette.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, it would be tough to let go. I would probably let go of Paul McCartney, like Driving Rain. I love this record. Like, I think it's one of his best, but I don't listen to it often, so it would go away, you know.
And you get decent money for that one.
Yeah, Arnaldo said it was going for like $300-400.
Yeah, it is, because they didn't press many. They didn't press many. They didn't press to play on that.
Cesar is keeping you honest, man. He's like, let's see it. Come on, that's 2. Keep going.
I'd probably let go of this reissue of Big Star 3rd. This is the 4 Men with Beards reissue. a friend of mine, I'm not going to go talk about it, but like he got me into this, like, you know, what is the best version of Big Star Third? If you don't know this band, like they have so many different pressings. I don't think the Steve Hoffman forums or Discogs actually goes through all of that. So he kind of persuaded me to buy like all these copies of Third. And it turns out, I'll try not to like let the secret out, but I think the original Aura, is it Aura or is it PVC that reissued this in '78? They actually got a copy of the tape. It wasn't the original master.
Hmm.
So then that actually doesn't sound as good as this, which I think during this time when this was reissued, I think in the early 2000s, I think the third tape was owned by Fantasy. So Four Men with Beards, I know people laugh at them, of course, and they should because they had the worst QC issues ever. They were able to get the tape, the actual tape, and use it for this.
Very nice.
So even though like this sounds good, to me it's like the best version out there, and you can get it for what, under 40, but the QC issues on this record, you know, make it kind of bad. So I would let this go, you know.
Okay. That's 3. Come on now.
I'd let this go. I like this record, but you know, I'm curious. Always Savoy Brown. This is Raw
I
Sienna.
just saw that in the store the other day.
This is the English pressing. So I've always wanted. I used to have a couple of theirs. I thought I used to have this. I couldn't find it. So then I enjoyed it, but then it's not something I'd return to. You know,
Yeah.
so I could let this go. This is the infamous Helen Morel Dream of You record. I think this is like late 50s. This is her second record. And this is actually done with Gil Evans, who does like the orchestration. So it's more sort of pop singing, jazz singing. So it was actually a great listen. I played it during my stream like last Sunday, but I don't know if I would return back to this. So I could let this go easy, you know.
Ellen Merrill can go.
How many is this?
Is that 5?
Yep.
Who's keeping track? I think that's like 5.
5. Okay,
I know I should be keeping track. I think we're at 5.
I
Okay,
could let
there's
this
6.
go, even though like it's a great unplugged. This is 10,000 Maniacs, the MTV unplugged. Never released on vinyl until last year. Like I think it's better to see it than to hear it. You know, sometimes that's what the MTV unplugged was all about.
Yeah.
So I could let this go.
That makes sense.
Okay, 3 more.
3 more. Velvet Underground, 1969. This is a comp, and all of this stuff was released on their, I guess, each of the records, Velvet Underground, and between that and like Loaded, and yeah. But I think like this is already released, like on Another View and VU, those records.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. Like I could let this go. It was just fun to listen to, actually.
2 more.
I could let this go easy.
Jolene.
This is Dolly Parton, Jolene. Yeah, I don't know. Like, she wrote great singles. I don't know about albums per se. She wasn't an album artist, in my opinion. So I could let it go. I have the singles, you know. And one more, right?
And yep, last but not least, make it a record we can see. I know it's going to be tougher.
You should probably get rid of that Fela Kuti. Sell it to me.
No, I can't. This record's awesome. This is open and close. This is the original.
Yeah.
No way. Absolutely
Sick.
not. I could let go of the toys. This is like early 60s pop. This
A
is
Lover's Concerto.
Yep. Let me get that out of there. There we go.
That's a beauty.
Ah, that's cool.
Is that the stereo or the mono?
It's the mono that I only paid
Okay.
$2 for. Awesome, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, like
Yeah.
most of the songs on here, like this is like R&B pop. If you
Yep.
never heard of this record, 3
Good
female
record.
singers. It's really good, but you know, I could let it go. You know,
Yep.
all right. There it is. He did the impossible. Split
Wow.
the collection in half right there.
Wow.
see, it's not that
Well
hard.
done.
I can do it. You know, just crush it. You know,
And now we're joined by the great Jose Moreno Ron on
See,
guitar.
like-
What's up, Jose?
Jose,
I always
he
fuck up.
couldn't get rid of his Adam Sandler records or
Time
his
zone.
Rodney Dangerfield records.
I keep fucking up with the time zone. And I was also there was a friend here, and I was playing him Frankie Teardrop, and he was like, "Oh, fucked up listening to that." So sorry for that, I guess. But to continue, all right. Well, all right, there you go.
So, thanks, Jay, for doing that, man. That was cool. So another sort of way of looking at this too is like the whole collection is gone for whatever reason. And that's kind of a sore subject right now. And somebody, by the way, somebody did message earlier that, look for places you can donate records also, especially, in Southern Cal, for people that have lost their records and stuff like that. But you're starting from scratch. What's your strategy? Knowing what you know now after years and maybe decades of collecting, where do you start? Give me the, where are you going to, where are you sourcing your new collection from? Where, what groups are you going to start with? Are you going to do like a thin layer of like everybody, or is there like full catalogs that you want to get first? David, what's your strategy if you had to build a collection from scratch? Everything you have in your house is gone. What's your strategy for getting something going?
Well, the first thing I would do is on the groups that aren't my top 5 or 10, I would be looking for greatest hits.
Okay.
Because it minimizes the amount of space and it gets you 99% of the songs you probably really liked. And then I would go to fulfill, the collections, and I would search out what are considered the best pressings of each of those at that point. But let's say it's Pink Floyd, and I really only want the best pressings of 3 of their records because I really like it a lot. I'm just going to take whatever for the others. I'm not as concerned about it, and I wouldn't even prioritize them maybe. So, but I am going to try to search out the best pressings of the things that I like the best.
Gotcha.
Be a much smaller room.
Chris, how are you restarting the rebuild?
I'm not.
Oh, once they're gone, they're gone.
I'm gonna buy the best streamer, the best DAC, the best amp, and the best set of speakers I could find, and that's it. I'm done. I would never rebuild. I don't think I would rebuild.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It would be like, it's just grueling. But if to really participate and answer your question, I would probably take a similar track that David takes, and I kind of do this now. Even though I have a lot of records, like if I start getting into an artist, I just go get everything. Just knock it all out at once. So I would start with my essentials. I'd go back to Dylan, and I'd probably seek out some originals on some things if I could, depending on the condition. I'd go after Beatles stuff. And then some stuff's just going to be easy to get, like some modern stuff that I'm into. But I would kind of take the same approach as David. Really focus in on the main artists first. And the problem with me is I wouldn't say I'm a completist because I don't go after different variations and multiple pressings of things. But if I really like an artist, I do try to complete the whole catalog as best as I can. Maybe I leave out 1 or 2, but it's rare. So even though I have a lot of records, it's not really much variety. It's really bulks of artists and bands and whatnot. What else would I do?
Are you guys going to record stores? You're local to grab this stuff and just being patient? Yeah. Are you guys on eBay and Discogs trying to snag them up immediately?
No, I would probably try to be really patient and try to source people trying to get rid of their records.
I don't have time for that.
And I would hopefully get into a bit of a groove where I can buy a few collections and trim off the fat to kind of subsidize my hunt. I would certainly go into stores and whatnot, but I think trying to seek people out who are trying to get rid of theirs would probably be a good way to do it. Yeah, it's kind of daunting to think about rebuilding it. But I think those are some of the basic strategies I would implement. I'd
You know,
also
Chris, I
probably
hope my wife didn't hear your first answer.
well, it's like it depends. Like if I had to sell my collection, I think I've talked about this with Rojas and maybe Jason separately, but if I had to sell my collection, I could probably buy some insane digital equipment and still have plenty of money left over to
Yeah.
put in the bank, you know? And that's,
Okay.
you know, that's a thought sometimes because
Yeah,
it gets a
no.
little consuming.
You're right.
What about you, Jay? The wall is gone. You got to rebuild it. You got to rebuild the wall. How do you do it?
No, I wouldn't
Wow.
do it. No.
No, okay.
No. Once it's gone, it's gone. I'm okay with it. Like, I have those pictures of the records that I had, you know, and, you know, of course, when I stream it, it won't be the same, you know, but I enjoyed it. That's all that mattered, you know. I don't need to be hoarding it, you know. So, you know, goodbye Deep Purple, Machine Head, you know.
Oh, wow. You'll be
Goodbye, one of
missed.
my favorite records ever, the Chirping Crickets. This is one of my favorites, you know. You know, I'd be okay, you know. Life moves on, you know.
Life moves on.
I
You
would
still
be,
have
I would be
Spotify.
retired from the vinyl community. That's what it would be.
Officially
You would just
retired.
be a consultant.
That's right.
There you
VC
go.
consultant.
All right, I'm going to let Jose go next, but I want to remind you guys that in about half an hour we're going to play a game. Of course we are. It's the B-side, and I'm going to put a link in the chat so that you guys can play along. So if you want to, I want to give you a heads up now so that you can get another screen in front of you so that you don't have to go back and forth. You can go back and forth if you want to, but it's easier if you can watch the stream and play the game at the same time. That would be fun. So. I'll be doing that soon. So I just want to tease that again for people that have joined in like the last half hour. And Jose,
Hey,
the collection's gone, dude, for whatever reason, and you got to start over. Where do you start? How do you start?
well, I think personally, I would try to get back some records from my label. That'll be the first thing. Get stuff from my label, which interestingly enough, I used to not keep copies of stuff. So I don't have everything that I've ever released, which is sad. And you know, sometimes I've seen like even like audiophile labels that sell their collection. You know, there's the famously that video of the guy from Classic Records that he sold his like personal collection, and it's very interesting. And when I saw those type of videos, I started getting scared. I was like, I don't own everything I've released, you know. And this year, I might be closer to getting release number 100 out. So that's
Congrats.
a lot. And I don't have like, I think I don't have like 30 releases, and they're not on Discogs, and I know what they are. And I probably could ask someone to sell them to me, but I don't, you know, because it will feel weird. And I could duplicate them, but it doesn't sound like ethically that would be great. Maybe I've asked 2 bands if I could do that just with 1 copy. And when I did so, one of them gave me one of those copies, and the other person said, "Yeah, but I never did." So I think that would be the first thing that I would do is, you know, buy my records first. And then I think I would continue with what I'm doing now which is just getting records that I think I really need. And I do second emotion, like what David was saying. Like I would buy a lot of greatest hits, not because of anything else, but because if you already invested the money on it, and you had to do it again, maybe just get what you really want from a band. I used to be very completionist. I still am with some bands, but I don't do that as much because I just feel like, you know, I'm someone that every week is looking for a new band to like, follow, stream, whatever, right? So the thought of just going back and buying George Harrison's what is it, electronic mood record, and I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm not ever gonna buy that. You know, which just got reissued as a picture disc like last year, I think. But which is an interesting, by the way. But it definitely, that particular record, which I like experimental music or whatever. I like it because it reminds me that before, the only way to share something you had recorded was to press it on vinyl. So it sounds like that. It sounds like, hey, look what I did in my studio. You want to listen to it? Here it is. Plain.
So it's like the Michael Fremer record. Okay,
exactly. Hey, Mom, look at this skit I did about Bob Dylan. Michael, that's so.
How
does
it feel?
Yeah, you should put it out. And he was like, I'm going to. And then the famous picture came about. But I think that will be my list. My labels. Secondly, I would go with like what I'm already, buying, which is records that I think are more important to me getting that later on I'm not gonna be able to get. And lastly, I would get like the last thing I would ever buy is like fucking Dark Side of the Moon or something like that. Because again, you have to understand, it's like you already know that record. If you went to a record store and you don't own any other records, and the first record you buy are Rumors, Dark Side of the Moon, and Sgt. Pepper, I don't get you, because it's like you've heard those songs so many times. You don't really need to listen to them as fast as maybe other stuff that you don't have like fresh in your mind. And I do love selling my own collection every now and again. So I think after you've done that once or twice, so for example, David wants to sell a lot of his collection, he'll soon realize that unfortunately there's a lot of records that you were once very happy to take home and you never listen to again.
That's true.
And now that money, it's lunch, it's dinner, it's a nice little holiday outside somewhere, it's a park, and it's a whatever you want to buy. It's a backpack, it's a gift for some family member, and you don't fucking need Doobie Brothers hi-fi version. That's my.
Well, some people would argue that the reason to get Sgt. Pepper's Dark Side and whatever else you mentioned is because the reason they've listened to him so much is because that's what they like, and that's why they love him.
You can literally go into any Walmart and buy those 3 titles, but you can get other stuff. Like, for example, I'm looking at Jason's wall, right? Just for that, Big Star 3rd. That's not like you can walk in and on a Walmart and be like, hey, I wanna get that. Fela Kuti, you can't get that. Stuff like that. Macy Star, even Macy. Well, that one was a Record Store Day essential not that long ago. But you know what I mean? It's like you just have to. If you're putting me in the shoes that I don't have my records anymore, the least I would suggest buying is the things that are more widely available. Because you could still buy anything else. You and I are going to die. And whatever Walmart, Target, or whatever shit still exists, HEB, they were still going to sell copies of Dark Side of the Moon. You know what I mean? Because for whatever reason, people always suggest to get that record first. I don't. By the way, David Nelms, I don't hate Dark Side of the Moon. I just fucking hate how much people are stuck on that record. Pink Floyd is a great band. They have more than one good record. I would say that as soon as Pink Floyd got to Dark Side of the Moon, they stopped experimenting. They stopped being this band that was always looking for a new sound, new weird screaming. Roger Waters doing the Careful That Axel Jean scream. That's really fun. They stopped doing that, and they became this band that had a good formula. Of course, a great formula, but it's boring as fuck to me that they just kept at it and never really, did anything that sounded risky. I would say that. Mm-hmm. Adam Hart Mother risky as fuck. Ugma extremely risky as fuck. You know, Nick Mason's tracks are shit, but I love that they exist. You know, and Obscure by Clouds, highly underrated. I would say that More is extremely underrated, and Green
Metal.
is the color. It's one of the most beautiful.
You've left out Metal, I know.
Metal.
Metal is pretty good because Shameless is really good. Good song.
Echoes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Echoes.
Well, yes, you know, I like Echoes. I think that's the last great Pink Floyd song, and I don't mean it as a bad thing. I mean because every time they try to echo that long ass song, it didn't quite got there. I would say like that's way better than Shine on Your Crazy Diamonds. Even that weird little section, it echoes like Moonchild by King Crimson. You know, it gets to a little part where there's just sounds. And yeah, I don't know. That's the experimentalist in me that I know for a fact that they were always looking for. And you can see that you can read Nick Mason's biography. He was doing that on Robert Wyatt. He did that on Shamal with Gong. He kept at it doing this experimental stuff.
So what are you going to spend your money on then? You're going to rebuild. Are you just going to go for pricey, obscure records first and try to like nail those down? Are you going to go for like the stuff that you do like to listen to, like, you know, something that's on your turntable regularly, or is there such a thing? Is that something that goes in first?
Well, I think that the records that I listen to mostly are the records I never thought I would own, which not necessarily mean that I got them for what Discogs is asking for. I got them maybe for a lot less, but that's why you treasure them way more. You know, those records that you found for $30 that on Discogs it says 200, 300, you know. I just think, you know, sometimes there are records that I sold my U.S. first copy of Nevermind. I didn't need it.
No big loss there.
No. You know why?
Sell any copy of Nevermind. That's no big loss, in my humble opinion.
I think no. I love Nirvana. It's one of those records that I have burdened in my brain. I don't need to listen to any more times that record. I like it. If I'm going to go back to Nirvana, I'm going to go with their first record. I'm going to go in Utero, the MTV Unplugged. But you know, I'm now. Well, Animals is such a great record. It was sort of like the formula, but going a little bit back with way more fidelity. You know, doing proggy stuff.
So I'm just thinking off the cuff here about your comments. I was like, I think they're awesome. I think there's two questions that have to be asked for you. Number one is, where did you get that jacket? Well, I thought that was going to be your first question. But to me, what I'm hearing in your description, and I don't know you 5, 10, or 15 years ago, your tastes have evolved. You're not answering this question the same way 10 years ago, most likely.
No,
like you might. Right. So that's a thing. I think your rebuild is fueled by an evolution of what you like now versus if you were rebuilding 15 or 10 years ago, you might say, oh, Nevermind would definitely be in there because it's like an essential record. You might not have been sick of it yet. So I think that's an interesting perspective to keep. The other thing too on the strategy spins is, I said that I wouldn't rebuild, but one of the strategies that I would implement is that if I had to wipe everything clean and rebuild, I'd wait for the bubble to burst.
Yes,
it's going to happen again.
You know, interestingly enough,
you're on mute, Spins. You're on mute.
You'll rebuild when the bubble bursts. You're saying?
Yeah, like if I got rid of everything and then I start paying attention and I see, all the stuff that's very valuable now is like half what it was, I'd go right back into it, and that would make it more fun because you're getting all the things that were like inaccessible to you from an economic standpoint now, or you're
and by the way, I would say that when I started collecting records was the year that the Dark Side of the Moon 30th anniversary came out. And I bought that on a store. and that was my copy for a lot of years. You know, I don't have it anymore, but I haven't had the click or the urge of listening to that record again. And I would say, and I've said it, and probably this same show many times. I think Pink Floyd is a dumb fucking band because they have the most amount of bootlegs, and they never seem to want to get those out professionally out. I think they have great live shows, and they did that with like the early Pink Floyd box set, which is great. But I want to have like on vinyl a lot of stuff, and they never do. I know they hate each other, but there's bands that hate each other and they still try to collab.
Once they're gone, all will come out. Somebody else will inherit the catalog.
But you know what I mean. It's
yeah.
And now just to quickly say to Chris, when I started buying those records, it was there was no bubble, So I remember getting like all my Doors or my Pink Floyd. I used to come visit here my sister in Mexico, and the records were $5. I used to go, the U.S., New York or Florida, and I would get records for $1, $2. That U.S. first pressing of Nirvana, I got it for $10 in Guatemala. My mom bought it for me. And the day that I sold it was because I had to pay a record for my record label, and I felt really sad. And I called her. I said, remember that record you got me all those years ago? I just sold it for a lot of money because I need to pay another artist that I believe on their music. I'm gonna pay for their music, and she was like, well, I'm glad that investment did help something. So, and I haven't had and I actually got my other copy of Nirvana. I think I've showed it. It's from Bolivia. Sounds really fucking good. Shelved it like a week ago. Never gonna listen to it probably again.
The other thing that's kind of inherent in me, and I think I'm a little bit different, is that since I was a kid, it's always kind of been of like curating this library of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just can't fathom like not having the Doors on my shelf, even though I'll probably only listen to it once every 5 years. That's hard for me to break away from.
I do own
like I don't really want to ever hear like Led Zeppelin ever again, except for a couple of tunes. But like I can't give this to my daughter one day, and like my dad didn't have any Led Zeppelin. Like part of that, actually, I know it sounds kind of sick, but like part of that is part of my motivation too. Like, because I think there's going to be a time, whether it's tomorrow or 10 years from now, like I want to hear Houses of the Holy, and I'm going to be like, oh, I used to have it, now I don't. And I'm going to be like, oh, then I'm going to go buy it, and then I'm going to repeat the cycle of buying it, listening to it twice, then shelving it again. So it's like I might as well just freaking keep it.
I understand that.
That's tough.
I still have all my the Doors. I don't own any Led Zeppelin anymore because the last time that I had them, the only record that I kept listening to for whatever reason was Presence.
Me too.
And I really 80 as fuck, but good record.
Yeah.
Though I think it's a very interesting, weird record that for some reason it exists. But you know what I mean? It's like Massey saying that my taste will come back full circle. I don't think that. I think nostalgically, I'm gonna want to buy like Korn. When I was a kid, I used to listen to Korn and shit like that. I still don't have any urge to get those records back, and if I do, I'm gonna listen to a song by them on YouTube, and that satisfies me. I'm showing fucking Deftones, stuff like that, stuff that I listened to when I was a kid. But even one of my favorite bands of all time when I was a kid, Modest Mouse, they got a record out a couple of years ago. I bought it for nostalgic reasons. I bought the Record Store Day release, and I loved it. But I wouldn't say it went full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
let me get to some of these comments, and then I'm going to ask you guys another question. I got to show this because Record Keeper said I did a huge purge last year, and it was liberating. By the way, the handle is Record Keeper, not keeping all his records. Wyoming is defending Nirvana and Bleach. Purge everything. Cesar, purge everything except Nevermind. It'll never happen. Doesn't matter. I don't have a copy of Nevermind anyway, so I never will.
So never mind.
Violent Kicks.
Well,
are you keeping the Journey? No, I'm not parting with the Journey ever. Even though they're like $10 albums, I love them too much. Mazzy says you might get tired of a record or genre, but I guarantee in 5 or 10, I think you just commented on this, Jose. 15 years, your taste will come back full circle. So don't sell unless you absolutely have to.
I agree.
I mean, there are bands that all your life you liked. You know, that's different.
Ross and I were just talking about his Loper Hootie and the Blowfish, you know, because the new box is dropping, and we were bent out of shape. We didn't know what to do.
I didn't even knew they had so many records.
Hootie,
you know?
yay.
I didn't know that.
That was a shock.
Where's Concert Buddy? Hootie and the Blowfish. Where's he at?
So I
know one song. I
actually went through this process about 5 years ago. I sold everything not long before that, and I have started from scratch. I probably kept like my 10 records that I thought would be difficult to replace or something. Here's how I started. Full Grateful Dead. Had to get all the Grateful Dead. Frank Zappa. I literally, my shelf was like Grateful Dead and Frank Zappa for a while. And then it was filling in stuff I wanted to hear. And it was like, you know, the bands that I love that I want to have their whose full catalogs to me are fantastic. You know, it's like Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, The Cure, who I grew up with, and stuff like that. And then also it was, you know, getting some records that maybe I didn't have before that were fun. Like you mentioned, Chris, it was kind of fun, kind of picking, you know, records here and there that I didn't have. And then just not replacing the ones that I could live without. It is a little liberating, in fact, kind of starting over, because I started from scratch by really curating. And I feel like it's easy maybe to start curating whenever you start building a collection, and then you just start adding multiple pressings of stuff and buying things that are maybe you're not even going to listen to that often for whatever reason. Somebody recommended it, you spun like one song and it went on the shelf. So that all stopped. All that stuff went away. So that was my strategy. I was like, first things first. And it was, for me, like you said, Chris, I forgot who you referenced, but it's almost like it's that those comfort records I wanted first. You know what I mean? The stuff that I just was going to excite me about getting back into it again. And so that's kind of how I went. Question I have. Also, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I also don't have like rare gems in my collection. Like, there's very, very few records. Like, if you guys came into my house and like went through my shelves, like, it wouldn't shock you. You'd be like, oh, I've seen this before. I know this band. There's like very few just not my style of music. There's probably stuff
I'm the same way.
I like that people don't love that I'm into that I might have a lot of, but you know, it's like I grew up reading the best of Rolling Stone every year, and that's like my record collection to a certain extent.
The top 100 records you have to hear before you die.
I have pop sensibility.
By the way, I want to trigger everybody by showing them the only copy of Sgt. Pepper I own and probably will own.
That's cool.
I'm guessing that doesn't have the repeating loop at the end of what is that, David?
No,
some of those have like a
8-track.
Well, actually, and David might know this, but there are releases. For example, Animals by Pink Floyd on 8-track has a solo that joins Pigs on the Wings Part 1 and Pigs on the Wings Part 2. So the actual song starts with number 2, then he has a solo, and the record loops itself back to
the tape
Pigs
loop.
on the Wings on 1. And that, I think, has never properly, I think this on one CD, but I don't know if it's official. But so there are a lot of good stuff on 8-track that, you know, but this was a gift I gave my wife the first year I met her. And the only reason I kept them, it's because now it's our collection, I guess.
So Novice Nick, I'm talking about all regular issue albums by the Grateful Dead, and then, you know, a few things from there. So let me ask you guys a question. I was going to ask for 3, but now time is limited. I'm going to ask for 1 each. You can give me more if you want. What is the first studio album you start with. You're starting from scratch. Tell me the first studio and the first live album you buy. Jason, go for it.
Tough.
Oh
Very
God,
tough.
dude.
I don't know. First studio. This is not the question I wanted, so I'm just gonna
I
pull
love
the
to torture you
record
guys.
right here. It's the Soft Boys, Underwater Moonlight. Does anyone know this on the panel? This album.
Yes, I know them.
This is Robin Hitchcock's band before.
I'm gonna destroy you.
Yep, this record is.
I have the 7-inch of that. It's a gatefold 7-inch. I love that band. It's a great band.
Yeah, this is what would you call this? Like it's post punk, but it's a bit more poppier, right?
Yes, it's definitely like if they made a band about like very posh punk, but with attitude. I would say that's how I would describe it. Very nice. Very nice.
So that's the studio album?
Yeah. Well, actually, this is the reissue. The original's down there, but I wanted to know if the reissue that came out, like I think 10 years ago, bested the original. It didn't, but I love this gatefold. You know, it's great.
It says triple gatefold. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's cool.
Pretty great.
You know?
Great band. Great band.
Yes.
If you're not that into punk, that's a good band to get into.
Yes. You know.
Maybe
Live
if you like
record.
the Cars, you
I
might
don't
like
know,
it.
live record. That's tough.
If your post-punk leans more toward the post and less on the punk,
Yes,
then that's for you.
that's actually a nice statement. Because I don't like the Cars, but I could see somebody that likes the Cars liking them
Okay.
in a good way.
Was that one of your picks, Jay, or you didn't? Or so what about a lot? Give me one live album then. What's your first live album you're gonna go snag? And and why is it Kiss Alive?
No. Because that record wasn't alive, actually. I don't know if I would pick that. Possibly, what is it? Maybe Sam Cooke, that one at the Harlem Square Club.
There you go. Nice pick. Nice pick.
Or even Otis Redding at Monterey. I'd totally pick that. You know?
Okay.
It would be
Nice.
good.
All right. Well, you're the only one on screen, Chris. So what's your studio? Give me one studio, one live album.
I gotta say that this answer could change in 45 minutes.
That's all
Just
right.
wanna make that clear.
As of this moment, no one's gonna, criticize you when it's different tomorrow.
Studio's a layup, and I'll give my explanation. It's gonna be Blonde on Blonde because it's got to be a Dylan record. And it's got to be the longest possible Dylan record I can have if I can only get one to start. So it's gonna be Blonde on Blonde.
But is it because you want Sarah Lady of the Lowlands on
and on repeat, and maybe I'll just flip it to Visions and play that on repeat. That'll take up half my day. Live album is tough because I actually, despite being a massive Fish fan and a massive Grateful Dead fan, I try not to buy a lot of live albums on vinyl.
You have to buy them on CD. To be honest, the Grateful Dead is
yeah.
a great band to start buying CDs again.
And stream.
You're saying because you got to be able to hear it all and sequentially without breaks.
That and also
and
because on vinyl as well, it's like 6 times more expensive to collect.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You get sometimes a lot less for your money. So if you just want to listen to them, you get Grateful Dead CDs, and
So I would. This is a.
By the way, Chris, there's no prize at the end of this. I'm sorry, there's no refrigerator. There's no right answer. Just give.
Yeah, but this means a lot to me. This is
okay.
Record, man. The live album, I'd probably have to go Band of Gypsies, even though it's got a 6 songs on it. But I mean, it's
that is the correct answer.
If not that, maybe Skull and Roses.
He's consistent.
Gypsies.
Is Yanni live at the Acropolis? What the fuck? All right.
Yeah, so Blonde on Blonde and Band of Gypsies.
I love that Who record.
Yeah, live
really
leads. Yeah,
it's got a good.
There's an extended double record, right?
Yeah, you did a deluxe CD of it, I think.
Yeah,
Of course.
but I love that era of the Who because they were playing Magic Bus like it was death metal, like they were like going at it like crazy, and I'm like, hey man, it's just fucking Magic Bus, just chill the fuck down. You know what I mean? Like I love it, but you know what I mean. It's
Did
like
you
they're
give us,
pop the air.
Chris? Did we get your answer yet? What?
Yeah, blonde on blonde and Band of Gypsies.
Okay, blonde on blonde, Band of Gypsies. All right, go ahead, David.
I'll try again in 5 minutes if you want.
Yeah, well,
So
let us know again. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead, David.
So my studio one is going to be Paul Carrack's One Good Reason. This is an album I play a lot. I use it to test equipment when I'm going to change speakers. I know this album inside out. It's got great combination of blues, pop, rock tunes on it. A great record. I was going to answer for live. Of course, Frampton Comes Alive. But the truth is that got replaced by Songs from a Nervous Planet by Tears for Fears that came out a few months ago.
Oh,
Is that live?
Pardon?
That's a live record?
Yes. It's got 4 tracks of new songs, but the rest is all live.
Mm.
And there's a 2 LP or a 3 LP. This is the 3 LP version.
Mm.
I saw one of your videos on that.
Yep, I did. I picked it as album of the year for last year.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
All right, Jose.
Quick and efficient, Jason.
All right. I'm gonna with Sincerity. I could pull like a record nobody here has ever fucking heard in their life, but I'm gonna go with Sincerity. You know what I mean? Like what I would actually get. Like my favorite live record. This is a record that I play in the house and I work, and I've listened it to so much I could call it ambient music now because I just have it like in the background, and I think it's one of the greatest live recordings. It's Mr. Neil Young live at Massey Hall, and I think this is a beautiful record. It sounds amazing. You can hear people coughing in the fucking record. It's so quiet. You can hear anyone that just says something in the audience. It's a very nice record. I'm very happy. It got reissued. It used to be a very expensive record. I got it for I traded, so I didn't pay for anything, but I traded for a record that went for like $80. So fuck me, right? That's
You got it with a bag of tomatoes. We know.
It's that's my pick for live. And I don't know. Again, yes, it could change every 2 days, but if I'm going to with records that I can listen to a lot, yes, Old Man. Even I would say that on that live record, there's even like bits that he's doing, like comedy bits that are good. That he has so many pockets now. He doesn't travel with a band now. Shit like that, and I think is very nice to hear. The stories about that guy that lives in the ranch. He's so fucking old, Anyways, I would pick this for my studio record. This is Jesus Lizard Goat. I guess you could say Nirvana related because buddies of them. They have a split, 7-inch split. This is a record I play and I feel like I want to fucking burn an entire nation, but that's fine. And I love it. It pumps me up. I would say it could be my own, by the way. But I love it. It's a record. If you hate your life, no, I'm kidding. If you really like Nirvana or stuff like that,
they're both the same thing.
It's the same thing. But yes, and I think one of the best labels to ever do it is Touch and Go. It was either this or Slint, but Slint I have it on the other room, so it got to be Goat. That's it. Goat over Liar, yes, every day, every single day. And by the way, that's a naked woman. You can see the nipple there. There you go.
What about you, Spins?
I don't know. I've been trying to think. I think my live album would have to be Grateful Dead, Skull and Roses, right? The self-titled live album, double LP. Just, I mean, I can't think of a record that I heard before that in my life. It's part of my DNA.
You like the Trucking live version from it?
Huh?
That's
you
on
like
72.
Yeah, Europe 72 you're talking about.
Oh,
and I would pick Skull and Roses over Europe 72. but just barely. And
Sacrilegious.
and I love Europe 72, but I can only take one.
One has
Studios
Warfrat,
way.
one doesn't.
Studios
Well,
way. I'm just gonna reach back here.
You could have said Europe 72 box set.
Come on.
You know?
Definitive Bertha.
There's the
Warfrat?
studio album right there. That's the studio album. The Cure Pornography.
I think. What songs are on that record? I don't remember that.
Which record?
Pornography, porn, softcore.
I mean, it's got the big one is what? The Hanging Garden, but the whole thing is great stuff. I mean, 100 years, short-term effect. I mean, it's a I don't know what you want to call it. It's so depressing. You might even like it, Jose.
No, it's The Cure is actually too fucking happy for me.
No, you got to try that one.
Wow.
No, fuck that shit. If you've heard like Bauhaus,
Saying pornography is too happy for him.
and you know what? Bauhaus is even better as a depressing band because they only have one.
I disagree.
Out of 10 song, and then the other songs are like an 8, and that depresses you. But great fucking band, Bauhaus, and not to be better than the first track they ever recorded.
I'm a big Bauhaus fan, but I have to disagree.
Wouldn't you agree that they pick their first ever recorded song? It's Bela Lugosi's Dead. The first second of recorded music, and then everything from there is downhill, which is not a bad thing because it's a great band.
Hold on, hold that. You're talking about this right here?
Yes.
Yes, it's a great song, but I mean,
yeah.
It's not that depressing. It's about Bela Lugosi. Who cares? I mean, most people don't even care. It's like
I'm stuck on this, Rojas. The best stuff from 72 isn't even on Europe 72.
Well, it's
the truth.
It is true. But have you seen the box set? That's like how many CDs?
Yeah.
You know the suitcase.
You could just stream it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jack Straw from 72 is
yeah.
That's
I thought Jack Straw was from Wichita.
No, there's a Jack Straw in
Yes, he was.
72.
No, I know. I'm kidding. Forget it.
Oh, the fuck you.
All right. I think we exhausted that. That was fun. But guys, I'm gonna drop a link right now. I hope this works, by the way. This is gonna be extremely anticlimactic if it doesn't. If it doesn't work, we're just gonna have to go to a true freestyle. And I'm sorry if I offend people. I'm only using the word freestyle because that's the traditional term that was not coined by Chance, but he's the one that does the second hour with the freestyle. I don't know where it came from before that. I'm just trying to stay true to form. That is a great album, dude.
It is.
It is a great album. I'm not mad at you for picking that one.
Brown Eyed Woman. Come on. Get out of here.
I understand.
Get out of here.
But they left off Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu off that. They shouldn't have.
You'll be fine.
And you know, my favorite Grateful Dead live show, it's the New York Eve at the film. What is it? Was it the Fillmore? Is it the Fillmore?
I have with the 71 show. It's got they do.
Yes, I have the DVD.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, we're going into what we call the freestyle. I know there is programming for the freestyle, but I got to do this so we know. Thank you, David. We got to. This is the end of the live stream proper. If you're listening, if you're here live, don't go anywhere. You're going to get the freestyle right now. If you're not listening live or watching live, you're going to have to click on the freestyle.
It was the Winterland.
Yeah. 76, 74.
Does everyone have Jose? Go to the private chat and get your link. Does everyone have their link? Who's in the?
Yep.
I know David's good to go. Chris, you're good. Jay, you're good.
I'm not good, man. This 72 Skull and Roses thing's really eating me alive right now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weakest Grateful Dead live shows, but that's fine. I mean,
It's not a live show. It's a compilation of live tunes. And it's phenomenal.
Well, that would still fit on the live category.
Yeah, of course. But you said live show. I just had to correct you because you hate it.
It's like Neil Young's MTV Unplugged. It's almost a studio album because he fucking hated that shit so much he did overdubs so much that basically it's a studio record.
Jose, do you have your link? Did you click your link?
I do.
Okay, everybody set up your thing, because the problem is there's only so many spots. I want to make sure that each of us get a spot, and then I'm going to release the link to the chat. Let me know when everyone's good to go.
I have it here.
Jason, you set up yours? You're good? I think you have to enter your name and hit whatever. Officially get your spot. So guys, what we're doing here is we're going to play a game like I like to do it on the second hour of the surface noise, and the idea is to get you guys involved so we can talk about this. There's going to be some tough questions. You guys get to it's my second favorite live Dead album, Jay. Oh God, that thing needs that. Put that thing in the humdinger. You get that ink right off there. So we're gonna play a game. You guys are gonna play along with us if you so desire. I'm gonna drop the link. Okay, Jay, you're good to go. David, you're good to go. Chris, you're good to go. Jose, you're good to go. Okay, here we go. I hope you guys can see this. Sometimes links to, okay, there's the link. I think you guys can tap it. Tap it. Tap that. All right, let me start it up here. Let me share the screen.
I'm trying to click anything. Nothing's happening.
Hold on. I think I gotta get it. Oh, I see Rojas is here. I see Jose is here. Welcome. Let me hit start. Before we begin, ensure the screen is being shared on whatever. Questions will appear on the screen. Answer using the device you've joined with, folks. The faster you answer, the more points you'll get. Oh my goodness, there's even points. I can hardly contain myself.
Yeah, the link hadn't shown up.
We have to refresh, maybe?
Yeah, maybe refresh. I'm going to hit let's play, and then you guys refresh.
All right, we're up.
All right, you guys see that?
Yeah.
On your side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to handpick first pressings or reissues.
I put up a link. Let's see.
So links are in the chat for you guys if you want to play along. So here's the first question. And by the way, this is a would you rather game. So a kind of extension of what we've been talking about. Would you rather only collect first pressings for those that aren't playing along? Would you rather only collect first pressings or only collect reissues? And of course, you get to handpick either. So, but you can only pick one or the other. It's got to be all reissues or all first pressings. You're rebuilding your collection. You know, if you say first pressings, then you can pick the German first press. You can pick the, whatever, Santa Maria, whatever you want it to be. And if it's reissues, it can be whatever you want it to be also. So,
Katy Perry's California Dreaming, something like that. First press.
Let me know when you guys are done, and then I guess I'll move on at that point.
In the chat, make sure. Did you guys get the link in the chat?
Yeah. Has anyone using the link?
I put a link out there.
Yeah. Thanks for doing that, Dave. So hopefully you guys can see that. If you are playing along, come on, Wyoming Dave, play along.
Would you rather?
Let us know if it works. Can you guys see that?
Do I click it now?
Yeah, and if you're not playing, you can say it in chat. Thank you. Christopher's going for the first pressings. Oh, there it is. First pressings 12, reissues 2. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
There we go.
I didn't even click anything.
No, it's got a timer on it, probably.
Oh, maybe it's timed. Okay. Oh, I think it is. I don't know. Maybe it's timed. Okay. So you guys got to work fast. There we go. 14 entries. Very cool. 12 picked first pressings and 2 picked reissues. No surprise there. Anyone on the panel pick reissues?
Nope.
No.
Of course not. We're not savages. Oh, sorry, Vinyl Kicks. Here, try the next one, dude. Next round. Oh, there's the leaderboard already. There we go.
What do you mean leaderboard? That's one question. What is this?
After you answer, you get more points.
Okay,
so make sure you're answering fast if you know your answer. Would you rather have What's that?
Explain this. Number 2 is up.
Number 2 is up, guys. Would you rather have 10 grails in perfect condition or 1,000 common records in decent shape? So you either have 10 grails and that's it. They're minty fresh, your favorite 10 albums, or 1,000 records. But they're all right. There's some clicks and pops. Let's just say Chris would not stand for these common records.
Wow, I gotta change my vote then.
Oh, maybe when it gets
1,000
everybody's vote that's signed in, it
1,000 Dark
ends.
Side of the Moons, right?
Well, you got 12 and 9.
Yeah, this one was more even. So 12 said grails, 10 grails, and 9 said 1,000 common. All right, good, Vine. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so I think what's happening is everyone that signed up, once everybody gets their answers in, it goes to the next one. Okay, cool. Here we go. Round 3, guys. And feel free to throw it in chat, too. So BKOL on top of the leaderboard. Music in the House is second. Okay, quickly. Would you rather buy a rare album with terrible sound quality or a common album that sounds incredible? A rare album. So a Butcher cover or something that sounds like crap, or just like a perfect of, just something else that you like.
Can't play the cover.
You cannot play the cover.
No, but you
That's
can
not
dine
something,
if
yeah.
you sell one. You know,
You can what?
you can dine. Like you can
Oh,
go
you
eat.
can find on.
Yeah, you can find dine after you're selling that shit.
All right. The faster you guys answer, the more points you get. Well, once everyone gets their votes in there.
Yeah, that's true. But the Butcher record is definitely not rare. It's like it's just expensive.
Well, it's a rare. It's a more rare
It's
than I
not a
like.
rare record. If you have money, you can buy one right the fuck now.
He
That's
means
right.
rare, like some
Yeah, I'm not saying-
not some grassroots singer from the Sudan who recorded on a tape recorder and they pressed 5 copies.
Thank
He
you.
means
Yeah,
rare,
but
like-
like you
yeah.
know, like a Butcher cover is
That's
more
about
like
Alan
Bobby and Pete.
Lomax's personal reel-to-reel collection.
You make it sound like you can get the Butcher album from the Tomato Lady, The
You
Tomato
could.
Stand Lady.
You could if you had sex with him.
Oh, no.
Let's keep it. Let's keep it
All
PG
right.
13 plus if we can. Okay.
That would make
Everybody get your answers in. Wyoming Dave, yes, that's the idea. I hope these are tough. Expensive, not rare. Yeah, I mean, it's a Butcher cover. What would you call it? Is it common? I mean,
How many Butcher covers are there for sale right now on Discogs?
It's
I have no idea.
yeah, and you see them in shops, so it's not like you don't see them that often. They're
Okay.
usually on the wall, but
Yeah.
Let's take it back
Not-
to elementary logic. Is rare the opposite of common? So just answer the damn question so we can move on.
All right, I'm gonna have to end the round. Whoever hasn't voted, maybe someone's done
There-
with this. Okay.
There are 11 copies right now of the US stereo. for
I'll give you guys
sale,
10 seconds, and then I'm gonna go to the next one.
and 458 people have it. Is that rare?
the playable
I guess it
record
depends
is
on what
rare.
version you have. Okay, so 17 said common albums with incredible sound, and 4 said rare albums with terrible sound. Anyone say on the panel say rare album with terrible sound?
No,
I
Okay.
did.
You did.
I did, yes.
Of course.
of course Jason did.
What's that rare album, Jose? I bet it's Butcher cover. Okay, next leaderboard BKOL. Jump is right at the top. Look at that, right behind him. Music in the House. All right. Would you rather listen to only live albums or only studio albums? You can only pick one.
It's easy.
Don't forget, you're going to miss out on Kiss Alive if you say studio albums.
Isn't that a mixed recorded record?
I don't know.
It probably is.
It's half good, half bad.
Is a directed disc considered live?
Yes, I guess.
Actually, yes.
If
you did everything in one
Well, it's not really live, guys. It's got to be there's an audience and
Well, those Thurman records, live records, are live. I guess It's
yeah.
Very few live albums are good, KRWD. Agreed. And most of them are the Grateful Dead.
And Fish
All right.
and King
Yeah.
Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
MC5. It's live.
All right, I'll let it go a few more seconds. I think someone dropped off, maybe. Get your answers in, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to mute my cough. All right, here we go. Ending round.
Yep.
Oh, 20 said studio, 1 said live. Well, there you go. That was an easy one. All right, let's look at that leaderboard again. Oops, I got to click next round. BKOL still. We got those, man. Soda Stereo is up there. All right. Would you rather have a fully optimized stereo setup, but only 50 records to play on it? Or an unlimited collection, but the it's an okay setup, Or do you want a high fidelity Michael Fremer stereo setup and only 50 records?
With a hairdo?
Huh?
Does it come with a hairdo?
It does.
All right.
And a blow dryer for Warp Records.
And,
Yes.
and a list of things to complain throughout the day.
Yeah.
And the humdingers. Fully optimized setup versus unlimited record collection. That's the question. If you get the fantastic setup, the $1 million setup, you can listen to your favorite 50 records, but that's it. Otherwise, you're going with the turntable you already have and going with unlimited collection.
If you could have like any record, like if all records were free, like every record you want is free, I would still not have any John Mayer records.
Shots fired. John Mayer catching
hot
strays.
take, guy. Hey, can you just say hot take next time you say something, Jose?
No, I think that's a very it's as true as the days are old.
All right, I'm going to end the round. Here we go. Fully optimized.
Mayer.
Unlimited record collection said 16. 6 people said fully optimized setup with 50 albums. Did anyone on the panel say that one?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Chris said he just needs 50 albums.
I'll just have it the most insane streaming platform I could possibly have for everything.
That's what.
He's
Good
going
his
to that
model.
streaming platform.
Uh,
All right, next one. Question 6 out of 10. Would you rather lose your entire collection today but get to rebuild it for free over 10 years, or keep everything but never buy another record? Keep the collection you have now and that's it, or have to spend 10 years trying to recover what you let go of?
If never buying a record implies John Mayer never,
Yeah, you can't get that new.
Wait, but the last one hinted at me getting all the records. So did that just never? It's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, that was a different universe. We're in a different universe now.
All right.
By the way, if you guys are joining and wondering what we're doing, scroll up. There is a link there. I don't know if it's too late to join now that we're already in this. But we're doing a fun game of Would You Rather. All right, I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. Rebuild for free. That's right.
link
Rebuild
back
for free.
in again.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to see, if you guys want to join in on the last few questions, click that link if you haven't already. Here we go. We're going to end the round. 12 said rebuild from scratch over 10 years. 7 said never buy another record. That's I don't want to say it's even, but that's interesting. So 7 people said just keep what they have. Anyone
That's
here
what I
say that?
said. That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what you said?
That's what I said
Yep.
too. Yeah.
I don't have 10 years. Maybe I do. Who knows?
Oh, God, don't say that. All right, here we go. BKOL holding tight to that first spot. All right, number 7 out of 10. Would you rather get rid of every album you own from the 70s or every album you owned from the 80s? I thought I said 90s. Yeah, it's 90s. So get rid of
It
90s.
is
or 80s.
90s and 70s.
Yeah, I missed typo. This is 90s, guys. The reason I had to pick 90s is we got youngins in the house. We got Chris and Jose that could give 2 squats about an 80s record. So you got to pick from the 70s or the 90s.
Don't hate us for
I
having
feel
good
like-
taste.
I
What's up,
collect
Sicko
a lot of
Splatters?
fight music. I collect a lot
I'm
of
not
fight
hating. I'm not hating. I'm just saying.
Man, this is tough.
the Godzilla.
Generational difference. That's all.
It's hard to part with the Bay City Rollers catalog. I don't know.
The Godzilla soundtrack. Didn't that shit came out in '99?
I guess.
90. Okay, which one are you keeping, Jay? 90s or 70s?
I'm keeping the 90s records.
Ooh, getting rid of all the 70s?
Yeah, I don't need to hear any of that.
Send them to me. Send them to me.
What'd you say? I'm guessing you said let go of the 90s, David.
Yeah.
Keep the 70s.
Yep.
You
I don't
can-
have many.
You can also do the Mazzy thing, and like once they die, you take a photo of the dead person's records, and then you get rid of them.
What'd you say, Chris? Are you getting rid of 90s or 70s? Do I even have to ask?
I mean, I picked the 70s, but this is really tough because then I got to get rid of like some Dylan stuff, some Joni stuff, some Dead stuff.
And Bobby is right. There's no Seals and Croft expensive records.
Chasing records. That question was the.
There are no Bread, Guitar Man expensive pressings.
I'm not even going to ask Jose. Well, Jose, I don't know. What did you pick?
I said I don't know why. I think I fucked up. I put get rid of all the 70s. But thinking about it, all my psych music when it was good.
Yep.
Was the 70s.
Ooh, that one was hella close. Wow. All right. 11 said get rid of 90s. Ted said get rid of 70s. I love it.
Wow.
I love it. All right. Next round. Let's see the leaderboard. Ooh, overtaken by music in the house. BKOL. Got to climb your way back. All right. Would you rather only collect albums from one single label or only collect one record from any label?
It's a tough question. A merger. What about mergers and acquisitions? How do we figure that in?
Well, UMG, Sony, yeah, it's the way it is.
No. We're talking, Blue Note, Columbia,
fuck all those. One of the best labels of all time from the U.S., Drag City Records. You have, I don't know how many fucking artists from it.
So that's the thing. If you have a bunch of records that you love on one label, do you just go for that label, or do you just take one of those records? Because you only get to pick one.
I'm going to have 50 Blue Note albums from the 90s. I don't know if Blue Note even had 50 albums.
I know, right? That's good, too. That's good.
And Paul brings up a good proposition. I could buy only from my label, and then I would have to reissue every record I like. So it's not really stable, but
all right. So the loophole. He's talking about the loopholes. Yes, all right.
Yeah. I can bootleg like a Pharoah Sanders 90 release and just listen to that, I guess.
Finally Kick says any record from one label.
Damn, is Bobby Gas old? Chess.
Another question.
Wyoming Dave refuses to answer.
Mojo.
What is it? French Vinyl Addict. Another question custom made for the man who built his collection reading only Mojo.
Oh, man.
I feel
if I had the money, complete Sun.
It's also a very sexual question.
This is a great answer. Psycho Splatter says, if I had the money, complete Sun or Chess or even Apple. Those are some. Okay.
Don't the chesses sound like shit, though?
No.
They don't sound like shit, but... how many Muddy Waters can you really chuck down the throat?
Who's your favorite Muddy
true,
Waters
album? I'm just mining data right now.
What? The Electric Mud?
Is that your favorite Muddy album? I have a feeling it is.
Let's tally it, Jason.
Yes. You know what? Because
all right, we're ending it.
When that folk singer reissue came out, I'm still having trouble like reselling that reissue. Nobody wants this shit. Amazing sounding record, but
So 12 people said 12 people said any record from a single label, and 7 said one record from any label.
Nah, you wouldn't do that.
It's tough.
All right, here we go. Ooh, BKOL. It's back and forth at the top of the leaderboard right now.
You fucked up.
Question 9 out of 10. 2 to go. Okay, would you rather get a $1,000 Discogs gift card or be allowed to raid one record store for free for 10 minutes?
Depends on the record store, right?
Yeah, you get to pick the record store, and that's part of the question. So everyone on the panel or anyone in chat, let us know if you pick the record store, which store are you picking?
$1,000 don't buy me shit on Discogs. What is this?
Hey, well, are you going to find more than $1,000 in good records at a record store?
Yes. If I go to end of an year and I clear out their holy wall, that's like
okay. Well, there's your answer.
$1,000.
There's your answer.
Immediately. $1,000 don't buy me shit.
1,000 Discogs gift card. You just buy a Butcher cover.
I buy a Butcher cover and then
And
I
that's
go
not
to,
even rare. That's not
I
even rare.
know.
It's not even rare.
Not even
Look at
rare,
that
yeah.
last comment.
And
Lisa
isn't it
Rojas'
weird?
house.
You know what the weirdest thing about a Butcher cover is? You have to notice Ringo.
Amoeba Music says Groovy Lisa. Obviously Amoeba. Well, yeah, that's a big record store right there too. So we should have put a
gotta know
limitation
what-
on
Amoeba. Amoeba on San Francisco, maybe.
KRW's taking the Discogs. Right. Okay, I just got that. Record store of choice, Jason Rojas. Very nice. Chris.
I'm in Rojas.
Minty
10
Vinyl
minutes.
in Germany says hi rant.
Yeah, that guy has very impressive records all the time on Instagram.
Final Dreamscape wants to change his vote. Sorry, I don't think he can go back. Atomic Wall says Jeff Myers. Okay, did anybody on that panel pick record store? And if so, which one did you pick?
I picked Plaid Room in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow. Never heard of that.
I would do Wawa Records in Barcelona.
Wawa
I would go
in
to the
Shout out Wawa.
Antone's Records back room. They have like 5 crates of hot shit, you know, like a signed Townsman
Ooh.
stand.
You got the good shit. Remember that?
For everything, I just be like, oh, mine, you know.
Remember
Nobody
that
picked the hot
vagina smoking
wax guy, the guy that does all the hot
Jason,
wax.
do you think that vagina smoking record's still in Antoine's?
No, I
You
think that
think?
one's sold actually. That one's gone.
Yeah, it did. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you about it. You know, you gotta buy that shit one day.
Yeah, Jeff Myers.
What was
has
it
it.
called? ACDC.
You gotta grab
right?
them yourself
Yeah.
physically, Jeff.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You go in there with a shopping cart.
Get them in your arms, man.
Exactly. It's like one of those,
But you
Target
could take
shopping
people with you.
sprees.
They can hold them while you're grabbing them.
Yeah, right. All you can carry. All right.
Is Chad Safe considered a record store?
Wow, look at that.
Oh,
Totally
goodness.
even. 1,000 said
Wow.
Discogs gift card,
Amazing.
and
Well,
10
that's
said
cool.
shopping spree.
KRWD.
All right, so this is the last question, and this is a question that was brought up today. I think Jose, or rather Jay, I think you mentioned this at Arnaldo. Maybe you guys had a conversation. So this last question is going to be on that, and then we can kind of jump into that discussion from here. So here comes question 10, guys. EKOL, look at that. The Freight in third place, Music in the House in second. Last round. Would you rather own only colored vinyl or only black vinyl for the rest of your life? Is it going to be black wax or colored wax? You get one. This is going to say a lot about you as
Easy.
a record collector.
That's easy.
Well, you know, there's a lot of records that only came out on color vinyl, even back then.
Yeah, and so you can't have those records.
They probably suck anyway because they're on colored vinyl.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Back in black.
Yeah, we got a lot of black wax in the chat.
Once
Hey,
you go
hey,
back, you never go back.
Somebody here has to be the nerd and say black.
Yeah,
is a-
someone's got to say it. I
Black
want
is
nothing
a
but pink
color.
splatter in my
Black is a
collection,
color,
said
yeah.
Breakfast.
You know, black
King.
definitely is a color. And what the audiophile world has told us is that true vinyl is not even black.
Yeah, it's
So-
clear.
It's the color of semen. Sorry. Intrusive thoughts.
Oh,
Not
God.
Intrusive thoughts.
Ruby Lisa says weighing in with black vinyl as well. All right, get your votes in, guys. We are going to wrap it up, and
Nice.
then I'm gonna
just-
hand it off to Jay as soon as he comes back, so we can.
What do we got? Who's won that one?
Just picture all your favorite album covers that have records on them being in colored vinyl. They would all look terrible.
Well, 50% of people that buy records don't own a turntable. 99% of those people love colored vinyl.
But
All
they
right.
don't even know what color it is.
18 said only black wax. Only colored wax said too. So see,
Yeah.
we have colored wax lovers in the chat. I love to see it. What happens when I click next round? That should be it, right? Okay, maybe we get the leaderboard here. I hope so after all that.
Third place. Huh? All right.
EKOL 1984, Music in the House. David, that's you?
Yep.
Coming up third, KT. Fourth place, Soda Stereo. Fifth, Novice Nick. Sixth, Jose in seventh place. Immer Doom, 8th, M. Teddit, 9, and Sean, 10. Woo! Thanks for playing, guys. That was
Fun.
cool. That was
I
cool.
like that.
I am
like
the champion, says Mr. Breakfast King of Loyola.
You made the board, Jose. All right.
You guys.
You were going for first
Guys,
place.
I've got to run, but thanks for inviting me, Jason.
Of course, Dave. Thanks so much for being here.
Guys.
Bye,
Take care,
David.
everybody.
Good
We'll
to
see you next
Bye.
time. All right. See if I can fix this. There we go. All right, Jason, you stepped away again. I was going to kick off to you on this black versus, or did we already answer that question?
He evaporated.
He evaporated. Thanks, Music in the House. Yeah, I hope that was fun, guys.
I got this on cassette.
Oh, Cesar, third place. Oh, that's cool. I love some Beck. All right, so Jay, what are your thoughts on this? I know I got that last question from you guys in the email today. So you want to open this up with the colored versus black wax?
So there was a channel, I think his name is David Denier or Diner, I don't know, but he's a UK guy. He did a video on the Tori Amos, her live record that just came out. And he bought all the pressings. He went insane. I never knew the guy to be a Tori Amos fan. You know, he bought 2 or 3 different LP versions, and he bought the CD. And he was doing a sort of a shootout. And he said that the first special release that was on this blue vinyl sounded better than the black vinyl. And that's crazy, right? And his reasoning, well, the commenters were saying that perhaps the blue vinyl was pressed first, right, using the same stamper, and then the black vinyl, or the lacquer wasn't cleaned after pressing the colored vinyl, you know?
Yeah. I saw a comment. I think someone left a comment, which is kind of where my head goes, which is, you know, it's a small sample size and you're going to get different results based on a lot of variables.
Sure.
And in other words, I'm not looking at that video as proof that all black vinyl is going to sound better than all colored vinyl, just out of, you know, there could have been other variables that went into play with that one sounding so bad. And I think part of the argument for that would be like, how many people own at least one piece of colored wax that sounds good? I mean, I know I do, and I have black wax that sounds bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a couple variables. It's hard to tell, and like unless you listen to it. I mean, the thing is,
Yeah.
like, I did enjoy his video, but
Yeah, it's a great video.
He doesn't really have any proof. Like, you know, he's just talking about it, and there's nothing wrong with talking about it, but without any proof, you know, I'm just going by his word. You know,
Right.
Well,
And-
what I can say from this is that in my label we do a lot of color variants for records, and we've done, you know, the classic. Some records are black, some records are another color, and I've, you know, I compare my own record, but since we only do like 300 most of the time, 350, 500 the most. I personally don't think there's a difference. The only color that I've ever had any issues with comparing it, for example, with the test pressing, was white color vinyl. It seems to have the surface noise. See, I said it. It's way louder, you know. But I think that right now, the market, how it is, for most new music, new bands, I think colored vinyl serves a niche that is just giving people records and things to collect. So for all the people that don't have a turntable, or they do have a turntable, it's a LP 60 Audio Technica, they really do want to have the more scarce color variant. If they made 200 of this, they're gonna get it. There's something with nowadays with color vinyl where people can tell you how much they loved a band or an artist based on what color you have, right? So if, for example, but it's always been like that. If you have a Nirvana Bleach white version, there you go, right? That means that you have something way better or more scarce or rarer than, owning the black version, which is still very highly sought after. But it also means that you have the first variant. So, for example, on my label, we do the first version. Sometimes when we do color variants, we do the first one, it's a color variant, and then if we repress it, we do a black version. And why is that? It's just so I know when the person bought the record. So, and also because to reward those who came early and bought the record,
Can I ask you a question, dude?
Mhm.
And I think there's been some allusion to this in the chat, and I'm kind of thinking the same thing. But this just could be, you're maybe the most qualified person on the panel to speak to this. Is there a difference between a solid color and mixing colors? I mean, are different colors, can we guarantee they're going to be the exact same consistency? And if we get like spread colors across one piece of wax, is there more potential to get variations in sound than something that's just one color?
Well, something that's interesting, I would say that 95% of the time I've never heard a difference between like color variants. Like this one's noisier, blah, blah, blah. It all has to do with, for example, there's a lot of records that get pressed, and even the same record gets pressed in different pressing plants, right? So you have to keep that in mind. So even on the same pressing plant, if the PVC they're getting, or PET that they're using now, if they got it sourced differently, it's going to probably affect some sound quality, but it doesn't actually necessarily mean anything, because even if you have two blue color variants, it could be like some in the US, they press it at a different plant than in Europe, So it has to do more like the quality of the PVC they're using. If it's virgin vinyl, which is I don't think most is, even if they advertise it like that. So I would say like, for example, that recycled vinyl, here in Mexico, there's a lot of very hard. That's why I put that I picked that answer in the game, because there are records that I have that it's just luck that they even exist, but the records themselves was pressed recycling vinyl from plants that didn't, they just have like one of those like, the ends of the records they cut, and they would make a bowl again and use it as to make new records. So, and that's noisy as fuck. So I would say that there are alternatives now to eco-friendly, eco-recycled vinyl. There's one called PET that I showed some people. It's called green vinyl. I don't remember the green. It's from the Netherlands. They use PET now. That actually this record got repressed on that not that long ago, but yeah, I would say that most of the times it has to do with the mix they're using and the different pressing plans, rather than consistency with
who puts together that mix. Is that something that just comes in a massive container, or do
they come like
okay,
pallet.
so the pressing plant's not mixing that stuff then. They just take whatever comes in and they...
No, you have to, like, the actual PVC, they're like little small dots that they heat up and make. There's a machine that makes this like Play-Doh type stuff, right? And then they weigh it, and they take 180 grams or so, right? There's not all records weigh the same, even if you think they do. So there's a lot of things going on, and especially because again, most most labels, even big labels, they don't press the records all the time, like because even audiophile labels repress stuff on different plans.
Yeah.
So they might
I love. So I'm just so sorry. I tap records, man. You remember, yeah, in magazines too, right? Did you guys ever get anything like that? I don't know the last time they did that, where oftentimes a square record would come inserted in like a magazine, and you could take it out, and it would be like a 7-inch single or something like that. How the hell do they press those? Because that's just a flimsy.
It's a flexi disc.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a company in the U.S. that still do postcards, and they have a Quiero Quiero Bonito one that I have. And Polyvinyl does that still sometimes. Double Whammy from New York. I think they're from the Catskills area. I don't remember. They do that. Great label, but they do that just for like advertisement. But the one that does the postcards, last time I was in Austin for the records show, they were there advertising. Like you can do that. A flexi disc, and the guy that owns the rights, or the what do you call it, the patent for the flexi disc in the U.S. is a guy named John Dwyer that has a band called the OCs, which is pretty good. But
I'm muted. That's interesting. Have you guys heard of this new process? I guess I don't know. I say new within the last few years. Injection molded records.
Yes.
Have you heard of that, Jay? The whole injection molded process that they're talking about. I think Fremer did a video about it. And there's...
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I may even have one record that's using
supposed
that.
To be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to get one and see what it sounds like. It's supposed to be, because they use such high pressure, that it's supposed to be like way less opportunity for QC issues and stuff. So that sounds kind of cool. Do you know much about that? Anybody?
Oh, no, but the Higher End District, that shellac record is the company that was said. It's a Pretty Green Vinyl or something like that. They're from the Netherlands, and they're the same label like of this Touch and Go. With and they've been pressing the records lately with that company. I have a test pressing here that somebody gave me to listen to. Yeah, green vinyl, yes, from the Netherlands. But there's DMM cut, which I really like how they DMM cut records sound. And again,
so is there a certain era that you have to get those in? Because I read an article on that where the direct metal mastering, and it's when they first started doing it, for some reason there'd be like this high frequency pitch. Mm-hmm. Did you ever read that? So I think, and I just bring it up because that's what I think of when I think DMM. Is that like there's an era, maybe someone in chat knows, where they were. It had something to do with the lathe that was like creating issues or something, or however they master those.
The DMM cuts have been like around for a long time, but I have a lot of records that last a lot. I have a 30-minute one-sided record, and that's only able to be done on DMM cutting, which it's interesting, I guess. But I would say if you do have DMM records and you don't know, it's probably from the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
I think all the.
But they were before that.
Didn't they do all the Weezer records like after they reissued? I think from the Green album on, I think they're all DMM.
Yes, like the 2000-ish pressings. Yeah, they're DMM.
Malderoy Red is all DMM, and I think there was a lot of Rush reissues DMM at one point.
I know I have a few of them. I don't remember which ones they are, but
I have this. Most people here know. Well, not here, maybe. But this is Manuel Gotzing from Ashra Temple. And where's the track listing? This one side is 31 minutes and 38 seconds, and side 2 is 23 minutes. So this is DMM cut.
Can you show us the side one?
Yeah. There's a reissue, the original one. It's Tracy Chapman DMM.
I'm just curious, like, what does the run out groove look like? Okay, wow, those got to be some fine grooves.
Yeah, it's electronic music, but
is there not a lot of bass on there?
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Huh.
Yeah. I think most people always tend to say, "Oh, the quality of the music gets low," but it's not true. Because DMM is really good, and I've owned this on CD, and streamed it as well, and it sounds really fucking good. So I don't know. It has to be something else, But it's because DMM doesn't it? What?
I'm sorry, Jose. All the 80s Blue Notes are DMM.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
oh, really?
Most 90s stuff it's also DMM in general. Because
says he has a De La Soul 3-sided record. Is that one of those where you're not talking about one that has an etching on like side 4? Are you talking about one you can play forwards and backwards? You guys know how there's like they have these records where there's one groove that goes from the middle to the end and the other one goes and they just run alongside each other.
White.
That's
Jack
crazy. There's one too where it only plays one song and it's random, right? Depending on where you set the stylus down.
Monty Python has one. I don't. That's like that. It's like depending on where you put it, you have different tracks.
Yeah, it's gonna run into a different track.
Groove.
Yeah.
Groove.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, Tap. That's cool, Tap.
There's actually, in 2010s, there was an interesting format that I think I've discussed here. I won't go and get it, but it was a CD, and on the other side, it would have one song, like a 7-inch, that you could put on your turntable, but it's a CD.
Oh, that's cool.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, I have a Mersbo one that's like that. So the actual song is not on the CD, and then the track you have to play is on the actual CD. You have to play it there, which I think it's pretty interesting.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, for sure.
So
the CD player doesn't pick up the grooves; it's just picking up the information that's on that. But then, yeah, that's crazy. And he's gone. Any other thoughts on the colored verse black? Chris, I think I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I never, like to Jason's point, I've never bought. Have I bought? I might have like some sub pop stuff on colored vinyl and black vinyl, like same titles. But I've never really done a shootout. Number one, I just don't like the way a lot of them look. Like I could care less. I'd rather the record labels and the pressing plants figure out how not to send me warped records that are brand new or records with no fill than worry about if it looks pretty or not. That's
right.
My biggest thing. I just had to exchange some stuff or work with some stuff today that I got that I just listened to the past couple of days, and I'm like, it's just getting frustrating. I will say that I feel that there's more QC issues that I've seen with color, just from like a warping perspective, chronic, like static in one channel on like lead-in tracks of the first song on each side. I just feel like I return more from a percentage standpoint, seek out exchanges on colored vinyl. So I could like do without it. Just like, why don't we start off from scratch and just get the quality down and stop screwing around with all these defects, and then worry about, making it a glow in the dark, blood infused marijuana aroma record that somebody wants to collect. That's
blood
fine.
Infused. Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
I won't say it's very dirty, but I have a very dirty sounding record. But I will say that I don't mind people doing like very specific colored vinyl, especially because you have to understand the nicheness of these things. Most records nowadays from new bands are all digitally recorded, digitally mastered. So vinyl is now just a way of listening to the music. You have to understand that. The mastering will be different for vinyl most of the time, right? Than for digital, right? So it's not going to sound the same because there's different masters for it. But again, if you do something different, if you do something a little, outside of the norm, I think it's good. If you're doing color variants and you know your audience, where you do a color like a black vinyl for Amazon or stores, or the other way around, you do a color variant. That's fine. It just as a collector, you're also going to know like, oh, that color was only for their tour merch, stuff like that. I know it doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, people that are collectors of like new music that's being out right now, they are first pressings. New music's first pressings are first pressings. You know,
Colored wax definitely gets a stigma, right? I mean, and whether like Chris just said, like it's easy to associate it with poor sounding records. And for those of us that just care about the sound, we want a black variant because the perception is, and perhaps the truth is, that black vinyl is just going to sound better. So it's like so I guess my question would be, why not do both? I mean, are you just trying to appeal to one audience?
No, normally they do that.
I mean, often they do, but not always, right?
Not always. I definitely have records that are not available on black, right? I mean, look at, excuse me, like the Third Man record, Quarterly Club, most of the White Stripes reissues are red and white. I mean, white is the worst because you can't see anything if there's any issues.
Yeah, white is definitely.
Like for example, when that Birth of the Blue came out, that AP put out, I had the opportunity to buy the blue version. It wasn't even a thought. I just feel like I have too many bad experiences with it. Before I even get the needle to drop on it, it's just got issues. It feels like to me. So
I will say that when they're, for example, I'm working on a reissue that's like in 2 weeks. It's arriving that Sean, thanks Sean, put a link to it. That one, I originally thought, well, I might do like a green color vinyl, but then I thought, you know what? This is an artist that I fully respect, and I don't, I respect all the artists that I work with, but this one particularly just didn't feel like a good idea was to release, a color variant. I wanted it to be something very beautifully presented, clean, archaic type release, so I did only black vinyl.
Well, that's kind of Jason and I talked about some reissues on our Monday night stream, and one of the things that we discussed was the CCR reissues. And like, why would you make those color variants? Like, why would you want to put out a pink Willie and the Po' Boys or whatever? I don't know what album they're doing in that color, but I'm like, who the hell wants a pink CCR record on their turntable? Like,
well, there's the CCR record. Well, I would say that those are among the most sold records of all time. If somebody wants a color variant, it's not going to be you or me that buys them. It's for people that.
Yeah, you might be right.
Most people don't care about the sound of the record. I think
the point we're trying to make is make it. How much harder is it to do? We've seen them. We all know the process of making vinyl records, right? The videos are everywhere. Mm-hmm. What is so hard about making some in black and some in colored vinyl to appease the people that aren't interested in the colored vinyl?
I don't know.
I'll tell you why.
A pink CCR record. I think you do.
So I'll tell you why. Because most, well, from my perspective, I would tell you that if I do a black color variant, I know that one's going to sell less than the color variant because people are more into getting something that's different than something that might just look very normal. So when people do that, that's all color variant, it's the same as just releasing black vinyl. You know what I mean? It's like the novelty is not there, but I guess it is, right? But so when you do that, if you do black color variant, just leave it for like Amazon again or like the Walmart, blah blah blah. But it's not about that. It's mostly because you're competing with yourself. If a color is specific, it's more desirable. For example, Taylor Swift, there's so many color variants, and there's a black one most of the time, but there are titles by her that maybe Jason can talk more about that than me. But there are records by Taylor Swift that are worth like more than $1,000 just because it's not the picture disc. You know,
right. Well, that's like even like if you go back to music on vinyl several years ago, when they had all the alternative titles licensed, like the colored Alice in Chains stuff is more expensive. Like as from a collector standpoint, it's more expensive than the black Alice in Chains or the STP stuff. And I get it. Like I guess we get caught in this bubble a little bit. And Jose, you do a really good job of calling us out on it. I have to admit, like I'm coming from a different perspective. I'm not coming from like the casual person who's going into Walmart and they want Nevermind Blue or they want Taylor Swift on, emo, one girl white, whatever it is that they, whatever color segue.
Which there's a huge market for. And my argument is like, that is helping the vinyl economy actually, right? Because
it's maintaining the record in print.
Right.
Novelty of it. Yeah.
And,
I know you're right. Yeah.
I would say that 70 or more % of people that buy records today, the only thing they care is to own the actual record.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what
they're not even thinking about
what pressing plan, what country they got it pressed. They don't care about that. As long as you get the record in your house and you can play it and take a photo of it for Instagram. That's it. And because
Well, here, let me do a couple. Let me shout a couple of these out. Harmless Rebel. I just sold the Motley Crue Blood Filled. They are not made to be played. They are made to be super limited and collected. Exactly right. I mean, just like this Friday the 13th record. That is an awesome way to own. If you're gonna have blood in a record, it should be Friday the 13th, right?
That's not a color. That's not a color variant. That's a novelty. That's like
right. Well, but you can you say the same about some color variants too, or no?
A liquid field.
No, I mean.
Okay.
By the way, you know.
Let me just go through some of these real quick. I'm so sorry, and then we'll do a final thoughts. In my Vinyl and Kick says, in my opinion, just because the record is black, it's going to sound better. It's a false narrative. I bought so many records on black vinyl that has issues. Again, bringing this full circle, it's not like it's a one size fits all. It's not like every black piece of wax is going to sound better than every colored piece of wax. It varies for sure, and I also also High Rant District. Maybe you could talk on this, Jose. Different color pucks need slightly different pressing times. Is that your experience or?
What? Say it again.
I would never.
Where are you reading?
That.
Here, I'll throw it up right there. High Rant.
No, I've never heard that. I mean, again, because it's like if you're pressing a record that's only gonna get pressed on blue color vinyl, they wouldn't give a fuck about that. It's a machine that makes this like puree that they use to press the record.
Once it's pressed, it's pressed. I mean, and then you just gotta take it off the press. You're saying,
yeah.
Harmless Rebel. I have at least 1,000 color variant records in the collection, and can say, with the exception of Glow in the Dark, there is not difference in the sound. Harmless Rebel definitely qualified to make a statement on that with 1,000 of them.
I don't think there's a black is better than colored vinyl. I'm not saying a statement that colored sounds worse. All I'm saying is from my perspective, from the aesthetic, I don't care. That aside, I know for a fact I've had more issues from a QC perspective with colored, and then Jose's kind of supporting my point because he's saying those records are made for a different type of listener, so they're probably mass produced and rushed out. And we talked about this even with mass produce albums in black wax. They have QC issues because they're just trying to get the stuff out as fast as they can. They're not finalized properly. So I'm not one of these guys that says like, oh, it's always going to sound better because it's black. I'm saying before I even drop the needle, I have issues with them from a warping perspective or a no fill and things like that.
And your experience, your personal experience has been that you've had more issues with color vinyl than black, you're saying?
Yeah.
I'll say that most people that buy records right now, they just want to own the record. If it's color, I think they would choose it 9 out of 10 times if there's a color variant. And also, if you don't give a fuck about color variants, if the record got pressed on black, that means that probably your copy that you don't give a fuck if you buy it on color, it's going to be cheaper to buy later on the second market. Yep. So you got to be happy about that, because if you don't care, you don't care,
And so the moral to the story is that Chris is the outlier here. No one cares about it.
But I do think that it's weird when record labels charge more if it's color than if it's not.
Yeah, I hear you. So what are you going to say, Jay? Go ahead.
The moral of the story is if you need a pink CCR, it's there. It's all
about
you.
The pink CCR. They're out there for pre-order now, guys.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I even said when we were we never really talk about Vinyl Me Please or bash them or anything, but the one time we did, I said that one of the things that they could do is actually to create some scarcity, have a track like they have their tracks, and they should do. You could choose colored, which is limited to whatever, and then do the rest in black. That adds some collectability to it, right? And that would probably, drive some things to their subscription. Like Jose, to your point, you're going to use the stamper for however many times. What's the difference if you use it for 25% of its color and the rest are black? It doesn't really make a difference, right? It's just changing the vinyl compound in it. So,
and I just want to add that on the Friday the 13th blood liquid variant. Do you guys know about the Flaming Lips actual blood filled record?
Oh, really?
You've never seen that? It's Flaming Lips with Heavy Fuens. And there were only, I don't know how many records, but everyone that played on the record, Miley Cyrus is in that. Nick Cave is in there. They gave out blood samples. And they released this record, and they ship it to you in containers. They would have to keep it in a cooler or something. I haven't seen what they look like right now. It's probably fucking nasty, but it's actual blood. It's 50. That sounds like a lot.
Wow.
No, really. That's a lot.
Well, this blood-filled Friday the 13th record, all I can say is this is the perfect gift for that vampire friend of yours that needs a little extra blood. Thank you.
Wait, let me see.
If you're a vampire, can you live off this for a while, Jose?
What?
If you're a vampire, can you suck the blood out of this record and sustain your life?
Well, not this one because not real blood, but the one that I just said.
You're saying the other one you could. Okay.
Well, look a photo. It's actual blood. It's there's a blackened one over there. Just put Heavy Fuens with its friends with W. Derek Higgins. That was one of the first VC videos I ever saw. Was
wait, what is it? Put it in. I don't. How do you spell it?
Just look for this. Heavy Fuens blood. That's it. Flaming Lips. Heavy Fuens blood. And that was probably one of the first ever vinyl reviews I ever saw on YouTube was Derek Higgins' copy of that.
I do see. I guess this is it. Let me just throw this up.
There's
actually good picture of it.
Is it on
$25,000?
That's it. That's not bad.
Really? Is that it?
Yeah, let me switch over to it. Hang on.
Flaming Lips. Flaming Lips and Heady Fuens.
Is that it?
Yes. Yeah, but there's yeah, but it was like a huge gatefold.
Oh, I don't
How
know
much
what
is it
one.
right now on Discogs? What?
Rojas, you got the OG or what?
It says it's $400. The last one that sold.
What?
Blood type,
This is
blood type
Flaming Lips
OG.
donating a $25,000 bloody Hetty Fuens
Yeah, Heady
record.
Flames.
That's the story that I just clicked on.
I think we should start bootlegging this one.
Well,
You
it's
just-
it's interesting because
Yeah.
look who's in the record. Some people you won't give a fuck about. It's like Tame Impala, Kesha's there, Bon Iver, Yoko Ono's there, Nick Cave's there,
Ooh,
Neon
Sting.
Indian,
Only
Erika
10
Badu.
copies. 10 copies.
It was 10.
That's what it says here.
All right.
I
Yeah,
think
but
the
it's
more
weird
interesting
because
story is
the
what
pricing
kind of
is $400.
hallucinogenics do they do?
What?
Do you still play the record if it was warped?
Yes.
I want to know what kind of hallucinogenics they did at this recording session to convince everybody to do that.
Yes. Well, they've done weirder stuff. They have a fetus, a gummy fetus that he had to eat. That had a USB in
come
the
on
middle.
now.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's a brain one. Yeah. I love Flaming Lips. They didn't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
they're good. I've seen them live a few times. They're fun.
Yeah, I met them in Mexico City 2 years ago. Nice guys. Very
Cool.
very drugged.
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever seen that documentary on them? And Wayne Cohen is like, I don't do drugs.
Yeah.
It's only the guitar player. That motherfucker is on heroin, and there's like the guy is like fucked up.
Yeah, Harmless Rebel. I do remember them. Yeah, the Kiss record that got blood.
It would have been
Well,
cooler if the Flaming Lips did a record with Vaseline inside of it. Now that's something I can get on board with.
Vaseline. Have you ever seen that? Talking about blood and color records, AC/DC's "If You Want Blood, You Got It." That's one of the most expensive color records. I don't remember how much the last one. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
If you want blood,
I've never heard of AC/DC.
I think it's an Australian version or something like that. I don't remember. Oh, it's color with a U, right? Probably.
Any color you like.
Any color you like. It's actually pretty nice looking record, but it goes for a lot of money. I don't know how much it's going for right now. Wait, I want to show that. How do I do that? Can anybody help me find that shit?
Can you hit present or share screen?
All right. Yeah, but I need to find the record. Color variant. Fuck, I don't know what it is.
Oh, here it is. Rare vinyl. It's like
Oh,
$6,300.
it's from the Netherlands. Yeah, I found it.
It's a multicolored vinyl, multicolored splatter.
I just put the link up.
All I gotta say is take my money for that Friday the 13th record, man.
But look, the most expensive copy sold, it's $4,000.
Well, U.S. rare vinyl. I don't know if this is a legit site.
It looks like garbage. Look at that cover. Can you put it, Jason?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
It looks like shit. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah, it does. This is way cooler idea. I like with it having filled it up like this. Sorry, let me get it on screen.
Like who would spend $4,000 on that? Not even one of the greatest AC/DC live stuff. Yeah,
That's the one.
Yeah.
So was this before colored vinyl was a popular thing? Is that why?
Yeah, it's 78. But look at the medium, $1,991.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that artist was on cocaine.
The low is 99. Someone got a big deal on it.
Yeah. Last sold 4 months ago.
Well, there's another link I put up. Same one. It's on this site for 6,300, 6,400.
Let's see if I
Right
can
now?
Mm-hmm. It's a blue chip collector's item.
Ooh, go snag it right now, guys.
I mean, it is interesting in the sense that it looks like, and I love, by the way, that they're charging you shipping.
I know. I think
Well,
that's fun.
Let
like,
me ask this though.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Obviously, I know who AC/DC is, but are they a highly collected band? I feel like
The Australian records are, I guess.
because that's their home country.
Yeah, but they're on the expensive side would be like 150, 200.
Okay, I got you.
You know, so it's not really like
I just don't meet a lot of people that are like, oh, here's my Blue Note 1500 series, and I keep it right next to my AC/DC, complete discography of rarities. But that's why I've never really heard that.
No, I think what's Albert's production? That's the name. Is that the name of the label? If you have those, maybe what was the last one? Black in Black, I think that was Albert's production. One of those rare labels that got money by releasing a popular. It's like the Weird Al Yankovic label. I keep forgetting it. It's like the only. You know what I'm talking about?
No, it just always comes back to Weird Al, man.
I don't remember the name of the label. Wait, what was it? Oh, Rock and Roll Records. The fuck is that label?
Wow. Some person spent $3,000 on this AC/DC record.
Woo!
First couple AC were released in Australia.
Just streamed it. Harmless Rebel. Sorry, let me.
There are records that only got released in Australia. TNT was only released in Australia.
These 10-inch records of that Dave Brubeck put out. I got a couple of these, and some are in green and some are red. And this is kind of in response to Harmless Rebel on the Fantasy label, and they're translucent, man. They're really cool, and they sound great.
Oh, Fantasy did that a lot. I have an Allen Ginsberg red color variant of the Owl record.
They're cool.
There's a lot of like those Japanese Beatles mono reissues are all they're red color variant as well.
Yeah, the Odeon, the Beatles Odeon.
Odeon,
When did those Odeons get reissued though? 70s?
Those all came out like the early 70s, I think. I think they came out in the late 60s, maybe. I forget when they first started pressing them, but they got multiple reissues.
In my country, there's a lot of records that were only pressed on color variant, or not only, but that are famously on color vinyl. So it's not like it's not a new thing,
Yeah, no, these are old records. Yeah, exactly. That's cool. Here's a green variation. I love the color on these and the fact that they're translucent too. Here's another Fantasy Dave Brubeck that's green. It's really cool looking.
Wasn't Fantasy originally a little bit off the beaten path too from their marketing perspective? Maybe that's why they did that. I feel like they were trying to carve out a place. Maybe Rojas would know.
Maybe. We need
anything behind the Fantasy colored stuff, Rojas?
No, I think they were just doing it as promos. I don't think it was anything special, to be honest.
Well, what do you say, guys? Jason, you want to give us your mic drop on the black versus colored vinyl? Well, what's your feeling about it overall? Or like, do you buy colored vinyl? Do you care either way?
I don't really care. Like, I would just have to hear it first,
Right.
Like, that whole thing with the bleach, the whites versus the black. Actually, Cesar and I did like a StreamYard. Like, we played a couple songs from both, like private listening, comparison, and none of them was the winner. Like, some tracks sounded better on the white vinyl, and then some tracks sounded better on the black bleach. Like, I don't know. Like, that's actually messed up.
I would,
Frankenstein them both together.
Sure.
I know one of the things I wonder, I would love to have like 10 of the same identical pressings of an album, all basically the same condition, and just play them all and see how much variation there is just in records that are the same pressing. You know what I mean? we're talking about a medium that is not perfect. One record is going to vary from another one. I would just be curious to know, like, can you have 10 records that were, and even pick them off different stamp, whatever. One's record number 300, one's record 3,000, one's record 5,000, and just do a shootout and see what the variation is. I have to imagine there is going to be variation. Even if all things being equal, I think there's still going to be variation.
As someone that absolutely does not believe firmly does not believe on hot stamper bullshit, I will say that there's way more factors than people thinking that there's one record that sounds better than the other one. Because right now, most pressing plants have hydraulic machines. So that means that all records get the same type of pressure from one another. The PVC vinyl, it's heated in the same temperature. You know what I mean? So it's just it's more normally just dye, on the different PVC pellets that they're called. So I would say that if it's new stuff and you collect music from right now, always buy the color variant. And if you don't give a fuck about it, sell it, and it's gonna be way more expensive later on than the black version. And that's just, and again, if it's new music, it's still the first pressing of a record, So
all right, controversy in the VC. We're gonna have to do a shootout between Chris and Jose next B-side.
Well, higher end, like I said, there are different stuff different pressing plants doing the same record in Europe, in the US, even in the US, Memphis pressing plant versus whatever, right? There are more things than that. All right, there you
go. Rojas, do you have your bleach available in white? Can you hold that up for a second, if you don't mind?
Yeah, this is the reissue. Let me get it out. Come on now.
Well, it's the reissue. I thought you had the OG shit over there.
No. Then Chance, then Concert Buddy would have cried on the stream. What do you do?
Well, I just want to give Nirvana being trendsetters, they're the first band to name their album after the variant. So good for them.
So that I didn't realize that was issued by Verve.
By Verve?
Oh, no. They just took the label.
I know. I'm just joking.
It's good that you noticed that. Most people don't know. Right?
Well, more of the story is buy whatever the fuck you want.
That's the moral. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll call it, man. I got to go take care of this cough. I appreciate everyone for coming today, man. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed talking about what are you going to do when you have to rebuild your collection, or if you had to let go of part of it. I think that game was successful, man. We got people involved. We had like 20 people all doing their votes on the Would You Rather. So I think we're going to bring that back in the future, at least maybe a variation of it. All right. And I'm going to let Jay play us out with this record, which I didn't know about until you guys recommended it, man. I love this record now.
I have to go now, but keep on spinning. All right. All right, bye.
Keep on spinning in a free world. All right. Thanks, Jose. See you, man. All right, guys. We're going to call it. We're going to end the stream now. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you all for hanging out. Next week, stay tuned. If you're watching on Spin's Vinyl channel, we're watching on Spin's Vinyl channel. We'll be back on Monday. Otherwise, if you're on the Concert Buddy channel, Concert Buddy will see you on Surface Noise on Thursday. So thanks, everybody, for joining. We'll see you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Night, y'all.